Fish feeding habits. Know them to hook right. Hello, fishing fanatics. Happy new day, and welcome back to Fishing 24 Hours. Your go-to channel for killer fishing tips, tricks, and stories that make every trip legendary. Ever wondered why you're at the same spot, using the same bait, but the guy next to you is pulling fish left and right while your float-s just sitting there? I've been there, and a lesson from a wise angler changed my game. Today, we're diving into fish feeding habits. How fish hunt, choose, and bite bait to help you cast right and fill your bucket. This happened not long ago at Toledo Bend Lake, right on the Louisiana-Texas line. I was fishing beside an older guy, about 60, both of us using night crawlers. But in just 30 minutes, his bucket was brimming with carp and catfish, while my float barely twitched. Seeing me frustrated, he chuckled and said, "It's not the bait, son. It's knowing how fish eat. Each species has its own style. You gotta match it to win," he explained. Carp suck bait off the bottom, spit it out to taste, then swallow. So your bait needs to sit low, gently, without early hook sets. Crappie snap up bait fast in mid-water, while bass lurk near the surface, ready to ambush moving prey. I adjusted my float, switched to a lighter sinker, and dropped my bait near the bottom. 10 minutes later, my float dove. I set the hook, and a 4-pound carp thrashed the water. That day taught me that understanding fish feeding habits is the key to turning an empty bucket into a full one. In this video, we'll explore why feeding habits matter, how to pick the right depth, bait, and timing for each species, and tips to avoid common mistakes. We've got 2 real-life stories from the US to fire you up, plus practical tips and beginner advice to make you a fish whisperer. These tricks work in rivers, lakes, or ponds across America for species like carp, crappie, catfish, or bass. So, grab a cold soda, get comfy, and let's unlock the secrets to hooking fish right. Why does knowing fish feeding habits matter? For big reasons. First, understanding where fish feed, surface, midwater, or bottom, lets you place bait at the right depth. Carp and catfish hug the bottom. Crappie roam midwater, bass strike near the surface. Second, knowing their taste preferences helps you choose baits they can't resist. Catfish love stinky stuff. Crappie go for small bugs. Bass chase live prey. Third, timing your casts to when fish feed heaviest doubles your success. Fourth, grasping how fish eat prevents jumping the gun, setting the hook too early or late, and losing your catch. Lots of anglers focus on fancy baits, but miss that fish don't feed the same. Carp nibble slowly, crappie bite fast, bass hit hard. Each has a unique style. If you cast at the wrong depth, wrong time, or jerk too soon, even big fish slip away. The trick is observing, adjusting, and matching their habits. With this approach, you'll turn any spot into a fish magnet, even if others are casting nearby. Let's dive into practical tips to apply these habits. Start with bottom feeders like carp, grass carp, and catfish. These fish scour the lake or riverbed for food, like worms, crawfish, or grains. Use baits like stink bait, night crawlers, cornmeal dough, or mashed potatoes mixed with fish oil. Strong scents that spread far. Thread a fat worm, 2 to 4 inches, to wiggle freely. Or mold dough bait into small, firm balls to handle currents. Drop bait right on the bottom with a sinker just heavy enough, about 1/16 to 1/8 ounce, to keep it steady. Set your float so the bait sits on or just above the bottom, 2 to 4 inches from the hook. For bottom feeders, patience is everything. Carp and catfish often suck in bait, spit it out to test, then swallow. If your float twitches lightly, hold off. Wait for a full dip or a steady pull before setting the hook gently to avoid spooking them. Cast in deeper areas, 3 to 10 feet, near grass or roots where bottom feeders gather. At lakes like Toledo Bend, target muddy bottoms or submerged brush, prime spots for carp. Next, midwater feeders like crappie and bluegill. These fish cruise 1.5 to 5 feet deep, snapping up insects, minnows, or plant bits floating by. Use bloodworms, small shrimp, or slow-dissolving dough bait mixed with fishy stink. Cluster bloodworms on the hook for movement, perfect for crappie. Hook shrimp through the back to let them swim, attracting bluegill. For dew bait, add clay to make it sink slowly. Adjust your float so the bait hangs mid-water, 2 to 4 feet from the bottom. With midwater fish, twitch your rod lightly every 2 to 3 seconds to mimic moving prey. Crappie bite fast, so when your float jerks hard or dips suddenly, set the hook quick but gentle to avoid breaking the line. Cast in shallow areas near shore, around grass or lily pads, where crappie hang out. In southern canals or lakes, look for slow-moving water or shady spots, crappie and bluegill hotspots. Surface predators like largemouth bass or gar go for moving prey at or just below the surface. Use live minnows, frogs, or soft plastic lures like worms or poppers. Hook minnows through the back to let them swim naturally. Hook frogs through the thigh for leg kicks. With lures, choose ones that splash or pop when retrieved. Use a fast stop, fast retrieve. Pull the bait quickly for a few seconds. Pause to create ripples, then pull again. This triggers a base's hunting reflex. Cast surface baits near lily pads, floating grass, or shaded banks where bass ambush prey. Use a stronger line, 8 to 12 pound test, as bass fight hard. When your float jerks violently or the water splashes, set the hook fast. In marshes or lakes, target areas with overhanging trees or weeds. Bass love these spots. Avoid casting near dry branches to prevent snags. Timing your casts to feeding habits is critical. Carp and catfish feed heaviest early morning from 4:30 to 7 a.m. or late afternoon, from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m., scouring the bottom. Crappie and bluegill are active midday or after rain when insects drift. Bass hunt best at dusk or night, stalking surface prey. Cloudy days or post-train periods are prime as fish are less wary. Watch the water. Murky means bottom feeders are active. Clear water favors surface fish. A trick to boost success is chumming lightly before casting. For carp, scatter stink bait or cornmeal near your spot. Wait 10 to 15 minutes for fish to gather. For crappie, sprinkle bloodworms or dough bait to create a food cloud. For bass, toss a few minnows near weeds to stir them up. Chum sparingly to avoid overfeeding. This turns your spot into a feeding frenzy, upping your odds of big catches. Here's another real-life story to show the power of feeding habits. One time at a small canal in Arkansas, I met a guy focused solely on catfish, ignoring other species. He used crawfish meat, dropped it on the bottom, and let the scent spread without twitching. I asked why not fish for crappie too, and he said, "Catfish follow scent. Hug the bottom and spook if you move the bait too much. Let it sit, and they'll come." That day he landed over 6 big catfish, and I tried his method, pulling 3 solid ones myself. 2 fish like a pro, prep smart. Bring varied baits, worms, bloodworms, minnows, lures, to test what works. Use a sensitive rod, strong line, and thin float, checking for wear. Watch the water, bubbles, ripples, or fish shadows. To guess where fish feed, cast at the right depth, use the right bait, and time your hook set. If no bites after 15 minutes, adjust depth or spot. Adapt to conditions. Deep water for bottom feeders, shallow for midwater fish. Safety's key. Avoid loud noises or casting shadows on the water, as bass and crappie spook easily. Don't switch baits too fast. Fish need time to approach, especially carp. In deep canals or rivers, wear a life jacket. Be cautious wading, avoiding muddy banks that can collapse. A little care keeps your trip fun and safe. New to fishing? Feeding habits are a great way to learn. Try a lake for carp with worms on the bottom, or fish crappie in a canal with bloodworms midwater. Note where bites come, like bass near weeds. Don't worry about missed sets. Practice waiting for the right dip. Fishing by habits builds observation and patience, setting you up for big catches. To level up, practice casting at the right depth, twitching for midwater fish, or retrieving lures for bass. Spend trips at lakes, canals, or marshes, timing hook sets. Choose fatworms, fresh bloodworms, or lively minnows. In busy spots, find a quiet corner to keep fish calm. These details make you a fish whisperer. Fishing isn't just about great bait or rods. It's about hitting the fish's feeding style. 3 words: depth, taste, timing. Every cast at the right depth, with the right bait at the right time, feels like unlocking a fish vault. When the float dips slow, my heart races, hands grip the rod. That's a moment only anglers get. Whether you're a rookie or a veteran, these tricks will make you a master of any fishing spot. That's it, folks. We've covered fish feeding habits, depth, taste, timing, and avoiding mistakes. I hope you're pumped to try this out. Hit like, share with your fishing crew, and subscribe to Fishing 24 Hours for more killer tips. Got a feeding habit story from America's lakes or rivers? Drop it in the comments. I'm all ears. It's tight lines and big catches. I'll see you next time.